Hey Wargamers, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and I want to do a little bit of a different kind of video because recently I was contacted by DK Publishing regarding the Warhammer 40,000 Character Encyclopedia that's coming out this year. Now, I actually had no idea, but this is actually the second of these kind of compendium lore books that they've put out. It comes with an exclusive model. It's Titus from the Space Marine games, so if you're a fan of those, it's an exclusive miniature just for him. And they reached out to me because they knew that I do kind of book reviews and read lore stuff. And I gotta say, this is a killer product, and I'm gonna talk about it for a few reasons, and I deeply want one for Age of Sigmar. So what I'm gonna do now is go to the downward cam. We're gonna pop this guy open live on screen. I haven't even opened up to see what else is in there with Titus. And then we'll talk about what this book actually is and what I think its strengths are, because this has a place to me. Like, this is a really cool product and a gift for somebody. So we'll talk about that here in a second. Let's go to the downward cam. And here we are. So as you can see, hardbound, very nicely made. It has Wade Price here on the name. That's kind of cool. Good for him. And there's kind of this little section that's sort of its own package. And then there's the book portion, which we'll talk about. Let's do this because I am dying to personally know what's in here, but I held off because I wanted to do it on camera. Okay, that was a little harder to tear open than I expected. Let's grab this pretty piece of paper, and boom, we have our Titus. And I'll hold the sprue up here so we can all get a good look at it. He's got a cool shoulder pad with a whole bunch of purity seals on him. He's in a running, lunging forward position kind of pose. Also, the shoulder pads are, if I can see, this one is just a hero icon and this one's blank. So if you wanted to use this as somebody else, just a unique lieutenant or something like that, you absolutely can. And he's running with his bolter and a chainsword. So sweet model, very unique. And if somebody you know plays Warhammer Space Marine, the video game, they will adore that. So let's talk about what this book actually is in addition to some models. This is a character encyclopedia. What that means is each of these sections is going to show you a model that exists in the Games Workshop catalog, and then it's going to have a synopsis of their background and a few little other details. So, best way to do it is just to show you. And I'm gonna let's pick something for Doug, just because I recently got into Thousand Suns. In my opinion, nothing better explains what this book is about than the Ahriman page. So, as you will see for most of them, you have the miniature, the current Games Workshop miniature. There's often a quote associated with them. These little pop-up video icons with information basically explain all the different aspects of the visual design of the model. So, let's see. Ahriman's horned helmet was taken from Aemon, a defeated rival sorcerer. The horns of the demon prince Vad Hakar are the Annihilator sit atop his black staff. So it goes through all the different little bits of lore blurbs regarding all the things that make the miniature cool. Has a lore section, like I said, an abbreviated one, but where it gets interesting to me is over on the opposing page. First of all, they include a lot of artwork for the characters, so you can kind of see them in kind of a more thematic context than just the miniature in a vacuum. But I adore this other media. It lists all the Black Library books and the year that they were published and the author, so you can find them super easily. And when I got this, I actually went and hopped on and downloaded Ahriman Exile, and I'm listening to it right now. Wonderful book. But it also has them in chronological order for every single one of these. So if you are looking for how do I start reading or start getting into the lore of X, pick a character from that faction and just jump right in with that. Now, for me personally, I already read 1,000 Suns. We're doing that as part of the Emperor Protects podcast with Dan Bears. As I said, I'm reading Ahriman Exile now, and I'm just going to keep going through the Ahriman series. Although I think I have read Fury of Magnus. Anyway, regardless. A few more up-close things. There is a timeline, and this kind of brings them into perspective of how long they've been around. So M30, Ahriman is born on Terra. So he's an oldie. There's the burning of Prospero, the siege of Terra, the sack of the Librarium on Jolana, the assault on the Webway, and the siege of Fenris. So that brings you all the way from Horus Heresy to current events for 40k. And also here in the corner, which is one of my favorite parts, is other models. So it oftentimes, if these characters have existed within the 40k universe over a long period of time, they've probably had some older, dumpier looking models. What I adore is that this book really does pay homage not just to what the current thing is that you can buy, but also the history of the miniatures. So our other Ahrimans here are the 1996 sculpt, where he was just a little guy with his little staff up in the air. I adore that miniature still. And then the other one is from 2016, and this is the one that was created for the Horus Heresy game. Because remember, he's been around for a while, and in case you did not know, even though the Thousand Sons have blue with Tzeentch as their color scheme now, they were actually red back in the Horus Heresy. So this is just one example of a lot of these things. We'll see Mortarion, breakdowns of all the different stuff. Here's the Horus Heresy miniature, talks about their history in the universe. Some will have larger lore sections than others. Typically, if there was a campaign book that involved that hero, they try to, I think, stick to the more up-to-date stuff. But it all comes together really stinking well. They have all the different variants of the Fulgrim head. And they do this, the way the book is organized is basically into the same army archetypes that you can see on their web store. So like there's Armies of the Imperium, and there's Space Marine stuff, and then there's Chaos and Xenos. So it's the Imperium. This is a general history, a galactic timeline. Fantastic to have. Okay, yes, the Xenos are all the way in the back. Ooh, that's cool. There's a glossary. Okay, this is something I did not realize until I just looked at it now. I love the idea of a glossary. Warhammer is full of faux Latin. So being able to turn to something that has like your key terms to be able to keep up with the lore as it comes out is absolutely wonderful. There's also a pronunciation guide. Samael. Oh, I like that. This is what we need for AOS, to be perfectly honest with you. But yes, Imhotep for, yep, okay. Yeah, I'm loving it. Okay. And we have a phonetics key and an index if you're looking for something specific. So I want to ask the basic question, who is this for? And to me, there's two types of buyers for this. One is you yourself are someone who enjoys collecting Warhammer 40k stuff. And this is kind of where I fall into, where it's not about the building and playing of the armies, but I do like stuff like this because I have this book I've had for like 3 days now, and I've just kept it next to my bed, and I read like 1 or 2 characters worth of stories a night, and I adore it because then I get tired and I fall asleep. The synopses that are in here for each different type of character, they're interesting. You know, there's enough to get you like tantalized about the character and the faction, and feel like you know a little bit more about the main players in the universe. If you are new to Warhammer 40k and you're like, where do I get started? I haven't seen the other one of these books that they put out in terms of the resources included in there, but just looking at this one, I was blown away with the Black Library recommendation. The timeline, the chronological book order, and the models throughout the ages. I just thought that was so much fun. And, you know, as I talked about with the Ahriman thing, I immediately just jumped onto their playlist essentially for all the different books. So I'm going to get the audiobooks for all of those for Ahriman stuff, and then just pick another character and do the same thing. Between understanding the major players of the setting and the glossary of terms and pronunciations, it's super helpful for people who just want to learn more about the setting as a whole, whether or not they play the game. What I think makes this book exceedingly excellent is I'm looking on the back here, USA price $27.99. That is the winner, because this is not just for you if you like Warhammer, as most Warhammer things are. This is also for your family and loved ones who want to support you but don't know a thing about Warhammer. This Christmas, tell someone about this book. Multiple times I've had family members say, like, I want to help, but you obviously trade armies, you go through paints really quickly, like I don't know what to get you that you would appreciate. Well, between appreciation and price point that I don't feel bad asking my family members to get something like a model that costs $200, this is right on the money. This is a stocking stuffer. This is a thing that you can tell people, I would really like this, and I bet you will. Not only that, I bet that they would love to get it for you. Whether they play the tabletop stuff for Warhammer or they just play Warhammer, Space Marine online, that is a unique model for them. I think this book is a wonderful access point to get introduced to the lore, or just enjoy it as you're laying down trying to fall asleep. It looks great on a shelf and comes with a unique model for under $30 US. I have a hard time, barring specific like hobby supplies, you know, like mats, hobby shears, paints, brushes, that kind of thing, of a specific product that somebody could get a Warhammer fan and know that they'll enjoy it. So I'm going to keep chipping away at this. Thank you so much, DK, for sending me an advanced copy. It was incredibly fun. I wish I had seen the first one as well. But anything in the future I'm very excited about, because products like this, to me, are what the overwhelming majority of hobbyists actually want. There are, of course, vocal minorities who complain about rules balance and how many Space Marine units there are or whatever. I think at the end of the day, most people just want really cool stories, impressive artwork. There's a guide on how to get started with books and just character explanations and artwork and stuff. It's just beautiful. So go check it out. I'll have a link in the description down below for you, and grab yourself a copy of the Warhammer 40k Character Encyclopedia.